I'm author J.P. Moss. This video blog, I'll be discussing some of my concepts and thoughts about time travel. But before I begin, I'd like to first discuss something that Professor Stephen Hawking had pointed out in his documentary TV series about time travel. And Professor Hawking had said, time travel into the past is an impossibility. He flat said that. And he said something to do with the radiation that would be created through the paradoxes. The feedback, the same feedback you get when your microphone goes near a speaker, and the loop continues until eventually the energy blows out the speaker. He hosted a party, and he asked any time traveler to come to the party. No one showed up. In his simple experiment, he believed he dispelled the possibility that time travel exists at all. But I would like to talk about something else, something that often many scientists who lack a social life, with no disrespect to Professor Hawking, overlook time and time again. The fact that time travel is as much a human element, a social element, a behavior element, as much as it is anything to do with science. Exactly what is meant by time travel? What are we talking about? And then we have to start discussing the different types of theories of time travel. The theory of wormholes is a very plausible one. When we look down at space itself, down to the subatomic, even smaller than that, to this ultra tiny, the most fundamentally basic parts of space, you come to what is called the quantum foam. This is where the speed of light, quantum particles, which are much, much smaller than atoms themselves. Quanta are particles of light. You can imagine a tiny pinhead-sized piece, a grain of sand, we'll call it quanta, which is a particle of light, a photon, emanating from a source. It could be radio that you can't see, because light comes in many forms, which you can't see in radio, or what the light you see looking at my face that brings you this video. And these particles, well, imagine one the size of a grain of sand. Then a common atom, say a proton, neutron, or even an electron, would be something the size of a grapefruit in comparison in size. Universe, our space, is so filled with these quantum particles. It makes up the soup of space. The space is not empty. That it is a solid in itself. And within that space, this quantum foam, there would exist cracks within it. In much the same way you'd find cracks within solid matter. That matter itself is not solid. So between the quantum particles, there's going to be a network, a web, where there's going to be spaces. And those true empty spaces are going to be high energy holes in which other particles are flowing through all the time. And there are going to be an infinite number of these little holes all around us. Wormholes exist everywhere, and even inside us. But they're very, very, very tiny. And if you had some means of a machine to open one up and look into where that little hole is going, you may find that your looking from your space-time right now, and 11:30 p.m. here on the 3rd of March 2015. You may be looking into the future, you may be looking into 20, 30 years into the past in that very same space you're sitting in, but perhaps even 600 million years into the past, or into the future. But what exactly causes these wormholes to begin with? How did they get there? Why are there cracks in the quantum foam in the space around us? And that may have something to do, or this quantum foam is also called the ether, or the luminiferous ether, which is this energy field that is around us. It surrounds us, it's in us, it's in matter everywhere. It's a higher energy field which you can think of as being the 4th dimension, the luminiferous ether that's all around us. And how did it come to be there? How did we have cracks in this thing? Where are they coming from? I believe that some of the physicists, I follow some of the theories that some physicists have, which suggests that dark matter in the universe, which comprises 85% of the known universe, is in fact an antipole magnetic field. And what that basically means is, when two magnets come together, you get lines of these magnetic fields will cross each other. A magnet by itself, the lines don't cross each other. That's physics. But two magnets come close together, you get what's called a neutral field, where the lines are crossing. In that field, it could be theorized you're getting a kind of an antipole vector or flux. That is a neutrino field, is what that is. We'll call them neutrinos, a neutral force or neutral antipole field. That in itself is dark matter, and there's a lot of it in the universe. So it's basically a simple thing. It's a very simple and not a mysterious exotic matter no one has heard of yet. Dark matter is simply an antipole neutral magnetic field that happens to be crossing each other so many times in this universe. Matter has done it so many times, had a magnetic flux or magnetic fields on planets and stars, have crossed each other so many times and created so much of this neutrino field, this neutrino magnetic field, that it's just blown it into this outside part and in us of the universe. It's just everywhere. We get the dark matter. When there's a high enough concentration, you get cracks in the quantum foam. The luminiferous ether, then, at this point, the quantum foam, are the quantum particles, which give rise to our state of existence of matter at the moment, the solid wall, me, you, and space-time around us. In that instant, the dark matter, or neutrino flux, magnetic flux, is acting as a kind of a... I don't know if you've ever taken a cleaning chemical and poured it over styrofoam. It eats away at the styrofoam. And then it creates little holes everywhere. And in that respect, the theory then, from what a lot of people are talking about, and this is, just kind of giving you some idea, you would end up with those wormholes. But are they any good to us? Is it any good to know anything like this? Many people have skeptically said that ley lines don't exist on Earth. There's this talk about something called geomagnetic ley lines, or the Earth is full of something called ley lines. Now that's basically what it is invisible magnetic fields are crossing each other. And where they intersect on the Earth, you get a high concentration of paranormal activity, UFOs, ghosts, psychic fields, crop circles. You get people that still think a lot of visions. You also get, apparently, a lot of stories of time travel going on, where there's a lot of time travelers apparently seen in or around, or time slips. People have fallen into these time slips. The Bermuda Triangle is an example of this. Many well-documented cases where people have in fact come back from the Bermuda Triangle in the 1960s, 70s, and claimed that their airplane went through turbulence and they saw a green field surround the aircraft, and when they came out of it they saw dinosaurs roaming the earth, and the continent didn't look the same anymore. Those are actual documented cases. You can look this up. But getting back to what I was saying about ley lines, people discount the existence of ley lines. I find that rather puzzling, since I'm also aware of the fact that the Earth is not one large north-south pole magnet. This is a misconception. The Earth is actually many thousands of smaller geomagnets of north and south poles all over the planet. There's the main north, the main south on this planet. But because of the shape of the Earth and the shape of the interior, the mantle and all the rest and what's going on around it, you've got thousands of other but very powerful smaller Earth magnet fields running around the planet. And not all of these are going to be aligned with north-south. Some are going to be, this is north-south on the Earth, this is north-south maybe for this magnet in the Bermuda Triangle. There's going to be north-south this direction. And in physics we know that you can cross magnetic lines if you have two or more magnets. And imagine in some places you're going to have many, maybe 50, maybe 1,000 of these Earth force magnets. And you're going to have a very powerful intersection of ley lines. So I'm now in this video pulling ley lines out of pseudoscience and into reality. And there's already research out there you can verify that in fact has been done. When the magnetic fields cross each other, it's called a vector. At the intersection where they cross, you have a vector. The vector is known as a zero-point field. And that sounds quite mysterious. In fact, there hasn't really been any, people really haven't investigated into that too much. But then I drew up some other research. I happened to find other scientists online talking about dark matter and magnetic antipole theory, about how dark matter may be nothing more than a neutrino magnetic flux. That all it is a huge, vast, 20 billion year long buildup of, if you think of this universe as a giant magnet, and it's created this excess matter, which is quite vast and large, much larger than our physical universe of what we see. And this thing is massive. The antipole magnet theory then intrigued me, and I thought, if you take that, for example, and mix it with that over here with ley lines and this zero-point field they're talking about, I begin to say, then you've got the zero-point field, Jason. There's the answer. Zero-point field is in fact neutrino antipole magnetic flux. So what happens in ley lines on planet Earth? If enough ley line energy, I'll be basic in my terminology, is concentrated in a space-time on Earth, you have dark matter on planet Earth. You have a concentration of dark matter on Earth. And what happens when that happens? You've got your answer. How do you know time travel is real? And I don't even have to say any more, because you've already got the evidence in all of your Bermuda Triangle and Devil's Triangle and the Great Lakes and other areas on Earth where people have had unusual and very, very provocative, very dramatic time slips. The evidence is already there. This is what's interesting about this video. I was going to say that time travel is real, and rather than me having to bring you my story or an account or a machine or an equation, I've brought you into this video with research that's out there already, melded the two together, and then showed you, in fact, by doing so, showed, not tell, that time travel's real. And you want the proof, and the cool thing about it, if it's already happened and time travel's real, then it's already happened, then before watching this video, you have all of you have already heard of those time slip instances in history. There's your evidence. All one has to do is look on the map where these instances happened, and you'll notice that they've been given names, like the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Triangle, etc. And there are places in England where time slips have occurred, and you'll find the ley lines match. Cool, isn't it? A subtle but interesting way of bringing the proof to you. The proof was already there before you started watching this video. Thanks for watching.